Hello guys and welcome to Oracle's Cave. We are going to do a little mini series about 3D printing the Ironman Mk39 Gemini Starboost suit. Absolutely wicked suit, and I just can't wait to get it built. Now I'll start off by saying thank you to the DO3D forum, because these guys have released the files for free, and at the cost of filament nowadays it was make or break whether I was even going to get a suit. And just around the time I was looking for a suit, I was watching another YouTuber called Frankly Built, and if you've not seen his channel, you should check that out. He's built the Mark 85 Ironman suit, and it is absolutely perfect. I always wanted to build a suit. I got a CR10 that I started 3D printing on, and to begin with, all I could do was choose other people's files and start printing. Now, only just recently have I started paying attention to a few different softwares. Don't even know how to fully use them yet, but enough to start making everything. So later on in this video, I'll give you a run through of which softwares. It's taken me a couple of months to compound it down, just so that we've got 3 or 4 softwares that we use to get a model from being on a file to being on, well, here, touching and feeling and all built. So absolute thanks to DO3D forum for giving us the chance to get a full suit for free. And they have given up half the suit already, and the other half's due to come out. So well, what can I say, get over to DO3D, sign up for that forum and grab yourself some free files. They've got quite a few free files there. It's not just the Starboost. They've got other Ironman helmets, they've got other helmets, other things. The absolute wicked forum. Can't praise them highly enough. Right, so we're going for the full suit, a full life-size 1:1 scale suit. Now this was the helmet I printed, and it won't even go on my head. And it turns out they've released files that make them a bit bigger. So this part here comes around onto the back and sits in place like so. But cracking helmet, looks lovely, just didn't make it big enough. So I went into scaling and stuff to see how I was going to get on, and to be honest with you, everything went crazy. So we did print an arm, which I used the last of my green and the last of my, it's purple, right? Don't care how pink it looks on camera, it's purple. Because later on, if I don't change this to a different filament and reprint it, any marks or chips I get out the white part of the suit, yeah, it's going to show up purple. That's right. So I printed this up, and it looked way too big for me. And then I printed another one up, and while it was making, I realised it was the exact same file. I was like, no! So I just cut the machine, didn't even want it to go anymore, and it, look, only had that to go. So that could be a spare left that I can repair by cutting another part and another bit of software, only making the bit that's missing and sticking it back on. But there's 2 left. Yeah, I made the right first, which this was supposed to be, but it turned out to be left. I kind of spat the dummy out with that. I was not too pleased. It's quite a long print. Same with the helmet. That actually took me 35 hours to do the helmet and the back, and I was all happy and thought everything was really good. Tried to fit it on, just wouldn't go. So I tried scaling, and in the scaling I shrunk it down to what size I thought would be cool, but I was wrong. My scaling was crazy off, and it just plummeted me into doubt if I could even manage the project. So after scaling was a mess, I thought, right, we're just going to start printing everything as is. And that's the time I found out that the helmet was being made slightly bigger. All helmets on DO3D forum was made slightly bigger, and so they'd fit more people, right? So then I decided to print up a Bicep. This one actually came out really good. You wouldn't even need to paint that really, and that would fit right in with the costume. This was a black PLA Plus that I had there, so I started printing that. Absolutely wicked, came out perfect first time. So then I decided to print up some of the chest. Now this here wouldn't fit fully on my print bed. I have an Artillery Sidewinder X1. It's the same as the CR10, 300 by 300 by 400, and I couldn't fit it on the print bed, so I cut it. I don't know if you can tell by camera where it's cut. Maybe. Now I saw Frank at Frankly Built channel on YouTube. He was thinking if you cut it, it's going to be so noticeable to patch it in. He didn't actually want to print his with the honeycomb on it in case. So I don't know if he's still gonna or if he's not, but that was his theory, was maybe printing up the separate hexagons and putting it in place. But nah, I didn't want to do that. I'd rather just fill in these lines and take my time to sand them flat. Can you see it? Yeah, there we go, look. All the way along here. Turn it around and it is there. Now I made that and I thought, yee-haw, excellent. I'm going to start making the other side. So let me get this moved and we'll see the other side. Okay, so we got the other side, and I'll talk more about the software in a minute and how I came about doing it, but it was just to show you. This is the piece. It's still being cut like the other one in the exact same place, and then there's another cut coming down here, and this is a separate part. This is a separate part, and this top part's a separate part. So they could all fit on my machine. It's basically the same as the CR10, like I said, so it's quite a common machine. So cutting it for me, I didn't know how to use the softwares. Right, so it's taken me many months to work out which softwares to use, how to use them. I started off in Fusion 360, and that was way too overly complicated for somebody who didn't know nothing about graphic design and CAD design. So it kind of set me back a while and put me off a little bit, and I went back to just printing other people's prints. And it wasn't until I tried another one called Tinkercad. Now Tinkercad is like CAD design for dummies. Like picture being a baby in a play pit and you just playing with your blocks. You got the circle, you got the square, the rectangle, the triangle, you know, you're stacking them up to make a castle or a tower. Same thing, same principle. So I went off in there and started building my castle and my tower and just stacking these different shapes on top of each another and clicking it to set so that I could print it as a 3D print just to see if it would work out, and it kind of worked out. So I realised I understood the program a bit, so I jumped into it and I started designing. That's what I call a cable buddy, but it's just a little weird shape that you pop over your phone charger that you can stick to maybe your bedside unit so that your charger doesn't fall all the way to the floor and you have to keep getting up and getting your charger. So I designed that from start to finish, just a couple of things I needed to do to it, made it, designed it, 3D printed it, and absolutely loved it. Couldn't believe that I went from having a 3D printer for about 3 or 4 months and not knowing how to do any of this because I was struggling in Fusion 360, but using Tinkercad, wow, absolutely epic. So yeah, wait a minute, we'll talk about softwares. So over the past few months, the softwares I've compiled are Cura, that I use to translate my STL files into G-code for the printer. So Tinkercad is what I use if I'm trying to design something and make something, rather than Fusion 360 now. Much easier. It's 3D design for dummies basically. Excellent for getting you started. A Mesh Mixer. Now I've only just recently found out about Mesh Mixer and a software called NetFab, Autodesk NetFab. Now I can't get the NetFab. I've tried. It's some reason I'm not a teacher or a student, so they're not allowing me to have it. Maybe there's another way to get it. But Mesh Mixer, I only just found out how to use this about 5 days ago. So I'm new. I'm absolutely new at trying to print suits and stuff. And all I done was the full body armour was there. When you bring it in, you've got basically a cut plane. And I basically cut the suit straight in half, ditched the other half and only kept one side of the suit. That's so that when the files are broken down, to print one, all I got to do is hit mirror to print the other one because it's exactly the same. So it's half the workload totally gone, and that's in Mesh Mixer. So you bring it in, and your plane looks like one of these, right? It's a virtual one of these. So as you start, it's like sitting here. So I've slid it up, chopped the model in half, got rid of that other half, saved this. Then I've come over and just tilted it round 90 degrees, chop, slice straight through it again, and now it's left me 2 halves of one side, and I save them. So that's now my STL. So to save them, you would go down to export, and you hit export, and you'd export as a STL binary, and it would just save to any folder you want, and that's it, ready. That's you done what you need to do, that easy. And I was worried about, what about the parts where I cut it, would they even seal up on the ends and stuff? Didn't even have a clue. So I got crazy setting about that, printed up the parts started coming out absolutely fine. I was like, I've done it, I know what to do now to get the big massive parts chopped down and fit my bed. So after doing that in Mesh Mixer, and you've transported your STLs, now the files are ready to be loaded into any 3D printer. So I actually printed up, tried to print up, I put it into Cura, and this was way too big. So I printed up the top part and went on to print the opposite side after it. Meantime, I've put this back into Mesh Mixer again, called up the lower portion, and found somewhere I could cut it. Now I found this line, this space here underneath this vent. There was like 5-6 mils of space, maybe more, in here. So I put a line to cut and chopped straight through it, and saved the files again as an STL. And then I just went in and printed the little triangle part, mirrored that, printed it, and then printed this section here because it now fits on the bed. So I've printed this part and ran out of the PLA, so I couldn't print the lower part for the other side. So now we do have, where are we? Awkward because we don't have the other side, but there we go. There's the full front. So we're just waiting on that lower part because I had no more PLA. I was like, drama. So we ripped out the TPU that was sitting in there, and we made the neck back part. We'll have a closer look at these in a minute, but this was TPU. Never used TPU before, first time. Done it at 20%, which I think might have been just a bit too tough, but yeah, it's flexible. It's the first time I've ever used it. The parts came out brilliant. The texture that's came through from the infill, I absolutely love it. And it feels good against my skin. So I got carried away and I thought, yes! We've printed up the front neck portion. This looks like some kind of Spider-Man suit. I absolutely love it. So these parts here connect perfectly together. A bit out of shape because I've just been twisting the life out of it, but yeah, it's complete. I don't know how they would stick together. I think maybe this sticks to the back up by the jetpack side, and down the front of here sticks. I can show you. There's like a little tab thing on the inside here. I think that lines up. Hold on. I think that lines up when it's down inside it, like so. So that when you're putting the suit on, this is already attached to this, and the back part's already attached to the back. And then when you stick them on, they'll come together. We'll need to find another way, maybe even sink some magnets into the side walls, just so that they attach. But really comfortable around the neck. Just wish I'd done it in less than 20% infill, maybe even 10%, but maybe probably 5, and it would give you a little bit of stretch. But this is quite firm. But this kinda is my new favourite material. Absolutely brilliant. I'd love to make a Batman suit right out of TPU. So yeah, if there's any 3D printer companies out there want to sponsor builds like this with any machines like Creality or Artillery, especially Artillery. I had a Creality CR10, but my screen broke and I was left not printing for a while, so I gave up on it and went and bought the Artillery Sidewinder X1, and that thing is crazy good. It's silent, it's fast, it just prints non-stop. It is wicked. It's an all-in-one unit, no side box. But yeah, for building these suits we need a bigger printer, much bigger printer. So yeah, if there's any companies out there interested in filling a gap, we could be done with a giant printer. Or maybe you've got a supply of filament and you want to sponsor some filament, we could do that. Every little helps. But yeah, so far we have got quite a few bits and bobs together. We are getting there. It's coming together. I love the hexagon shape. I love that pattern. I was going to not do it either, but then I thought, just do it. Surely the lines won't be too bad and we'll be able just to fill them in and get rid of it before painting. So, this is the first one. It's probably been a long one. I've tried to squeeze in as many information as possible. But yeah, if I can do this, you can do this. I didn't know anything about 3D CAD design. I got a 3D printer, followed how to make a 3D print on like YouTube videos, and it showed me how to actually get somebody else's file from like Thingiverse, and you'd be able to print up anything. Like for me it was a fly trap, a little fruit fly trap for a jar, and I printed that up and it worked perfectly, man. So I loved it. I started making all crazy little things for the missus and the kids, and it was mainly just a play toy to start with. But now I realise what a serious bit of kit it is. And I always wanted a superhero suit. So Iron Man Mark 39 Gemini Starboost, here we go. Now we'll be following Frankly Built's build as well. He's the one that showed us about the Starboost. He's the one that let us all know it was being released. So we flooded over there by the masses, downloaded the free files. Thank you very much, DO3D, that is awesome. And yeah, let's start getting this thing built. The hard work starts before the painting process, so let's get the fun part out of the way. Now I'll be back when there's any more to add on. Like we also have the eyes, I'm sure you know. Most of you'll know if you've been watching builds like this, but we have LED eyes that when powered on, they light up, and they have a neat little like circle honeycomb style pattern gauze, so that when the lights are off and on, people can't see you but you can see them. So that is pretty cool. Awesome, very cheap. It was Frankly Built that got us onto them. It's someone in China. If I can, I'll leave a link in the description. I'll leave a link in the description to most things that you've heard here, but yeah, absolutely. Likewise, anyone want to sponsor any build, let us know. This one's going to be a long one, and the price of filament right now, I'm not in a rush to be paying that for what a lot of them are asking, so they can take a run and jump. But I'll update as soon as I can. Lots of bits to come. Thank you very much.